From Genesis to Revelation, the Bible celebrates strong women, and maybe even more accurately, women who are weak, right, in their own strength, just like everyone is, but who in the strength of the Lord and in the power of his might, ordinary women doing extraordinary things so that the people of God are preserved, so that the line of Christ is preserved, so that the story continues, and over again, Genesis to Revelation. It is a strong woman who hid the Israeli spies from certain death in Jericho. It was a strong woman that prayed so dearly for a son for so long, and when upon receiving the gift of that child, she turned around and she dedicated him to the service of the Lord, and that young man grew up. His name was Samuel, one of the great Old Testament prophets. On your own time, and I'm telling you, if you don't read anything else this week, read it. Judges chapter 4 and 5. All you teens in here, I want you to read this by Wednesday youth group, okay? Judges 4 and 5. I'm going to tell Pastor Josh, if you didn't read it, you're going to have to run laps, okay? Run laps around the church. You need to read it by Wednesday. Read it. It's unbelievable text of Scripture. It's the time of the judges. And if you're not familiar with that, it's a really lawless time in Israel. It's described as a time when every man does that which is right in his own eyes. It's a terrible time to be alive, really. I mean, sin is rampant. Oppression, rape, slavery, it's just rampant. It is a horrible time in Israel's history. And so Judges chapter 4 and 5 come along, and Israel's now been under severe oppression by their hated enemies, the Canaanites, for 20 years. For 20 years, abuse and slavery and rape and theft just continued at just an amazing pace. And Israel's hopeless. And God raises up a woman named Deborah to lead them to victory over the Canaanites. He raises up this godly judge. Her name is Deborah. Her general raises an army, and they rout the Canaanites who were so powerful. But this is where the story gets crazy, okay? So they rout the Canaanites in this massive, epic battle. And the Canaanites' famous general, the Sisera, he was firsthand the one responsible for so much of the oppression, for so much of the destruction, the raping and the pillaging of Israelites. He was this man, the man's man, right? Like he was the dude. And in this great battle, this guy who no doubt was telling all his guys, we're going to bleed together. When the battle goes south and it's obvious he's going to lose, he flees like a coward. But when he flees and when he runs away from the battle, and he ends up at the tent of this woman named Jael. Her name's Jael, and she's just a homemaker. She's not a soldier. She's not a warrior, and that's what I mean by just a homemaker. Like, she's not in battle or anything like that. She's going about her day. She's like checking Pinterest for recipes for lunch. Like, that's what she's doing. And here comes the leading oppressor of her people into her tent, and he's like, hide me. Now, her problem is this. If she says no, he'll kill her, or he'll run. And if he's able to escape, he'll just continue to rebring the army and continue to oppress her people. So here is Jael, and what's she going to do? What she does, she gives him some milk. She has him lay down, and she covers him in a rug, and she soothes him so much that he goes to sleep. And once this great, mighty general is asleep, do you know what Jael does? She takes a massive tent spike, and she hammers it through his temple, and she nails his head to the ground and kills him dead. And you know what the Bible's response to Jael doing that is? It's not like, man, she didn't know her place. This was wrong. Chapter 5 of Judges is a song about the victory that Jael brought for her people. Now, I grew up with all, at our churches, all these women's teas and mother-daughter things, and that's awesome. But I don't think it was ever once taught at one of these mother-daughter teas. But it should be. Like, ladies, like, the whole theme's right there, right? The whole theme is like, nailed it, right? Like, you call it that, and you got a centerpiece, you got a sledgehammer centerpiece. That's all picked out. This is awesome, But this tea's the best I've ever had. Yeah, we spiked it, right? Like it's all there. No, we don't do that. We're Baptists, okay? No, come on. I was testing you guys, and you all failed. It's all there. It's all there. It's crazy what happens there in Judges. Now, one of the questions I come upon and I think about that is, why is that in the Bible? And there's several reasons. There's multiple layers of what's going on. But one of the reasons it's there, One of the reasons it's there is to highlight once again an example of a strong woman, or not a woman who was strong in and of her own right, but through the strength of the Lord and the power of his might, evil came to her doorstep, and for her children, for her family, for her people, she put an end to it, and it's one of 1,000 examples, 1,000 pieces of the puzzle of biblical womanhood. That's what it's there for. The Bible does not, has not, ever portrayed or viewed women as shrinking violets, ever. And it's right there to show you. It was a strong woman who carried Jesus as a virgin to term. It was strong women that Paul called co-laborers. It was strong women who were the first to be at the tomb that David read about. The disciples had left Jesus at the cross. The tomb was guarded by soldiers. They're going to be threatened, being beaten and chased away by going to the tomb. But they just continue to show up. And they go to the tomb, and it's strong women that find out for the first time that the central piece of Christianity, that Jesus is not dead, he's alive. They're the ones who find out first. And they're the ones that angels tell, go and tell everyone else. That's strong women. Does the Bible oppress women? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.